As educators, we have seen students struggle. Students may be struggling with reading, with writing, with movement. All of these can be a disability. In 1975, Gerald Ford signed the Education for All Handicapped Children Act. This law requires that states that accept money from the federal government must provide equal access to education for all children, regardless of their disability. In 1997, the Education for All Handicapped Children Act became Individuals with Disabilities Act, IDEA, IDEA. Today, I want to talk about IDEA. This law is the cornerstone of all special education laws and how we treat our students with disabilities. In 2004, Congress amended IDEA. It needed to include early intervention, greater accountability for students, for teachers, for schools, raising standards for instructors who deal with special education students, making sure that they have the qualifications and the skills necessary to implement the goals that are discussed within the IEP, and having districts look at their budget and making sure that the budgets allot for the appropriate amount of money set forth by Congress towards special education.
There are 6 pillars of IDEA. They are: 1. The Individualized Education Program, or IEP. This is the plan developed collaboratively which identifies goals, measures, and accommodations to support a student in the least restrictive environment. 2. A Free and Appropriate Public Education, or FAPE. Appropriate education means a program designed to provide educational benefit for a person with disabilities. 3. The Least Restrictive Environment, or LRE. A student should have the ability to be educated with his or her peers. An IEP team must explore how a student can participate in the general education classroom with support using classroom modifications, supplemental aids and services, alternative instructional methods, and other items as well, or if the services must be provided outside of the general ed setting. 4. Appropriate evaluation must be implemented by a team of knowledgeable and trained evaluators, must use sound evaluation materials and procedures, and must be administered on a non-discriminatory basis. 5. Parent and teacher participation. The process must ensure the parents of a child with a disability or the adults with educational rights are members of any group that makes decisions regarding student needs and services. And 6. Procedural safeguards. A parent or legal guardian must consent to test, must be invited to the meetings, provides permission to receive services, and requires confidentiality of all information in the student's special education file.
Summer Ray, kindergarten teacher. How does IDEA affect you in the classroom and your teaching styles and learning every day?
I think probably the most important one is that you have to differentiate instruction. You have to make sure you're reaching the needs of all of your learners, depending on where they come from, their backgrounds, their learning styles, so on and so forth. You also have to make sure that you're meeting the goals of the IEP if a student has one. You also are constantly monitoring the rest of your kids to keep an eye on potential learning disabilities, learning differences, so on and so forth. And I think the last one is just keeping in communication with parents, letting them know where their kids are at and if they're meeting their goals, standards, so on and so forth.
Thank you. What is it like for you to have pullouts throughout your day?
Well, in OT, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, because you can miss some of your favorite things. But it's good because you can also have friends in your group that work with you, and they're really nice.
Mm-hmm. So do you like when you get to go to the classes?
Kind of, because I miss some of my favorite things.
Kind of, and you miss some favorite things.
I think the most impact that the schools feel from the IDEA has to do with the special education program, that we need to ensure that all of our students are being educated in the least restrictive environment possible. And for us at our school, what that means is we have a few different settings for our students.